Hello everybody, Zelfie here, and today I'm here to do another sort of deck profile slash video, and this time I wanted to do Duraludon VMAX. We got a Rapid Strike card in, so let's get a single strike card in. On top of that, I already owned all the pieces for this, but you know, what's so special about Duraludon? Especially right now, right, because this is an older card. Well, right now the meta is shifting back to a little bit more like special energy attackers, so you know, you still got the Arceus around there. They're playing double turbo energies, and you got like Zoroark, who's also another top deck right now, running the double turbo energies as well. Regigigas is on the climb again, yeah, just another way you can wall it out. So really, like, what's there not to love? On top of that, you get past all the annoying facts in the metagame right now. So, you know, even against like a Gudra, for example, where they just like put defense up, it just ignores all that. This ignores any like safeguard ability, so like Decidueye or Miltank, just stuff like that, right? So realistically, you have a pretty free matchup spread where like half your winning matchups are just like, hey, I'm unbeatable, right? And the other good part about Duraludon is that like against decks like Palkia, well, you're not really mentioned a whole lot, so they can't ramp up damage with you. So, you know, I think Duraludon's fairly well positioned in the metagame right now. It just has a lot of great strengths about it. But, oh, and we also have Arceus too. Arceus is usually the go-to partner. If you're going first, you know, you can evolve, use the VSTAR, get yourself set up and attack. Or if you're going second, and you get a DT and Arceus turn 1, you can just immediately trade charge. So yeah, there's a lot of good things to say about Arceus. We definitely want to be leading with Arceus most of the time, which is why we have Arceus V in the deck. Or like 4 Arceus V and 2 Duraludon Vs. We're running 3 of these just so we can like get rid of one if we need to off a research or something. But, you know, you may be looking at this list, it's like, wow, this list is too good. How can we make it worse? I'm glad you asked. So here's what I was playing in the video. I don't recommend playing this list. Like, there's a reason I showed this list first. But, you know, I was like, how do you make a Duraludon video exciting? Because it's not really that exciting. It's like, oh, if we queued into Hisui and Zoroark, I guess we wait 3 turns for them to forfeit when they realize they can't beat us, right? I was trying to make it a little bit more exciting than that, so I was like, what if we just started OHKOing shit? I wanted to see how much damage we could get, so, you know, throughout the video, this list changes. Like, for example, at the beginning, I only had 2 belts and 2 Karen's convictions and no single strike energy. And then, like, as I was trying to fish for a clip, which you saw in yesterday's video, I added more cards to increase my damage because I was mad that I missed the KO against, like, Gengar VMAX. I was like, damn, I would have been the fucking clip. And then it ended up having to play games until tomorrow to get the clip. So yeah, Karen's conviction is the start of the show here. During the start of your single strike, will do 20 more damage to your opponent's active for each prize card you've taken. So, like, you know, it allows you to handle a lot of damage. You know, if your prize mapping is Arceus VSTAR Duraludon, and they KO a Duraludon VMAX and an Arceus VSTAR, your last Duraludon gets a plus 100 attack. I don't know what the hell is surviving that. Well, the answer is like, I think it's with 33 HP, but that's why you got like choice belts and the random single strike energies in here. I believe they only came in like helpful once. It was like when I had a choice belt, I was like, I could just attach the single strike energy and get 20 more damage, right? Yeah, this is definitely a list I recommend. The only thing that's like unique about these lists that I definitely would recommend keeping, well, one, there's Big Parasol. I don't know how good this is yet. You might just want to trade this out for another draw card, like maybe a second Avery. But the other unique card is the Bird Keeper. I really like Bird Keeper in this list. You still play 2 switch. Yeah, 2 switch, which are just helpful when they like, when there's so much escape rope in the format, you definitely need switching cards. So I like having the Bird Keeper in the deck, because sometimes you can just Arceus V-Star and grab your draw supporter and your switch card all in one. So that really helps out a lot. Other than that, yeah, just enjoy some of the games that I got. So, getting on to the games, I have like quite a few games today, although like 2 of them basically insta wins. I just want to include it because like it's a Duraludon video, you kind of have to include the instant concede. Anyways, we're up against a Lost Box deck. Lost Box is traditionally not one of those decks that plays a lot of, high HP Pokemon. Outside, there's a Giratina here, of course. But, there isn't. So, I'm not be able to get a clip on this. That's basically what my entire recording session came down to, is that, hey, I was trying to get a clip on someone. I also believe I missed either the first turn or the first 2 turns of this game. That's why you see Fighting Energy attached there. But regardless, everything is just fine. I think this is their first turn, so there hasn't been anything else too exciting except I put down Duraludon and attached Fighting Energy past. He's gonna get a turn 1 cram attack against me, which, is fine. I don't really mind it if Arceus goes down. Unfortunately, this is the variant that's been playing like Cheryl, so there's no way for me to like really defend myself here. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up the Dreamfield. I'm gonna take my 2 prizes early before like Thornton comes out, or just like it becomes a pain in the ass later to try and take it out. Might as well just get it out of the way now. Especially if he decides to put down like even bigger threats that I might want to address, like other attacking mods. Is like, damn, well, I can't take the time to take Drakefield out right now until the last 2 turns of the game, so just get it out of the way now. It's not like targeting any of these mods is a really high priority. Maybe you're Giga Brain, you try to take down a Comfey, like make it so he has to find another Comfey so you can start doing lost and shenanigans again. But, seeing as he got the cram attack on turn 1, he's going to be in a pretty solid spot in general. I also make note that there's fire energies in here and psychic energies, and that usually denotes that this is Lost Box, not like a Giratina version, just because the Giratina versions have to play the grass energies. It doesn't stop them from playing the fire energies, but I don't usually see them go tricolor. Just because like Giratina on its own is a pretty good like attacker. So there's that. Mostly just looking around and trying to figure out what he's doing. I have like my Duraludon set up, so as long as like Duraludon is bossed up like right now, but we do see Cross Switcher, which is scary. Even then, so Charizard would need a manual attachment plus a Mirage Gate in order to get the KO on them. So yeah, it's fine. I just go ahead and pick up another Duraludon. The Duraludons are a lot bulkier than the Arceuses, especially in the late game, but Charizard could just use the Choice Belt to knock you out. And I'm just gonna go ahead and research all this away. Thankfully, I pull up this switch, which is super helpful. Because, actually, do I stay in the active? I think I go back into Arceus, because I want to try and preserve the HP on my Duraludons, just in case. Because with the Crystal Caves, they can be basically like, you get advantage out of preserving your Duraludons on the field for longer, just because of the Crystal Cave Stadium, which is pretty good in this list. I'm just seeing my opponent chug through stuff, and they don't really have a whole lot to like do here against my field. Like, I'm really set up. The most advantage they could get is they kill Duraludon, and if they are running Echoing Horns, they kill another Duraludon later in the game. But, there's not a later in the game. I have all my attackers set up, and it is very unlikely he's playing Crushing Hammers, so he has 3 turns to basically take all the prizes. And that's no good. Basically comes down to, can Charizard do it enough times? And recursing Charizard that many times is super rough. Oh, he's gonna get the attack of the Arceus, decent start. Here, actually, I think I don't use research. I believe I just go ahead and play the Avery instead, just because there's a lot of cards on my hand. I think it's correct to research there, because at this point, as I was talking about, the only way he wins is if he gets past everything, right? So just researching all those useless cards away is perfectly fine. Could, if this was somehow still a Giratina deck, then research isn't fine because you get rid of some of your boss's orders. But but against the situation that we're in right now, the research would have done just well. And then, yeah, there really isn't too much else to say. I'm the bulky VMAX Pokemon with healing on my side, so We are going to see the chorus down, so I believe if he has reached that point, he would be at 10 counters in the loss zone, which means that he doesn't get access to Sableye. Technically, he gets access to Fantina too, but like Duraludon just ignores that effect anyways. It's like one of the really nice things about Duraludon. Is Duraludon doesn't like really have much of an outplay factor, but what Duraludon does have is like really just not giving a shit about anything that's happening in the game. Like, if your opponent's playing like Guja, for example, right? You're just gonna pace right through that. Your opponent's trying to like stall you out middle tank, and Duraludon doesn't care. There's just like so many things that people try to do, just basically to stop the opponent from getting tempo, right? And Duraludon just ignores it. On top of that, the special energy check is nice too. Just gives you a few like decently free matchups. Like what's Hisui Zork supposed to do? They have a really hard time KOing you unless they get all 3 water energies on, and then sure they can play Belt by that point and knock you out. But if you're playing a proper version and not this stupid Kieran's Conviction build with massive damage in it, then you'll have probably big charms too in ways that mitigate the damage. So, there's always that. I will say though, the choice belts are actually decent in the Zor matchup, and even the Karen's Conviction, because if they don't damage pump like 1 damage counter off their Zor after they play it with the Cave Drop Bog, you will OHKO it because they have 270 HP, you place it down, they go down to 250 HP, and Duraludon is 220, so 220 plus 30 is like pretty decent, all things considered. Also, I just found it funny that there's a choice belt on this Sableye here, like he's gonna scratch me to death or something. I'm also not a huge fan of like the individual damage counters. How Live does it, because in in online you just like click on something and damage counters get added on. It's like slowly just adding up here. Anyways, that game was easy. Basically, I just got set up really quickly, and if my Pokemon are too big for Lost Box to really handle, this is like one of the few weaknesses of Lost Box is that it really struggles against high HP decks. For the most part, it don't care about like defensive. Like, there's a difference between like a defensive deck and a high HP deck. I consider Arceus a defensive deck because Arceus has to play cards like Big Charm, McCubey, like Radiant Gardevoir, and Charm Scare, right? As like a defensive deck, a huge HP deck might just fucking Cure VMAX, Duraludon VMAX, stuff like that, right? It's very hard for Lost Box to pick up all the KOs in time. They still have like Radiant Zard, which is their best way of doing it, but that deck is way more geared towards basically just defeating. Why is the name escaping my mind? VSTARs. That deck is way more geared towards defeating VSTARs than it is defeating VMAXs, which I think is pretty underrated. A lot of the scaling in the meta is out, so basically the only scaling deck that we have left is Cure VMAX. Yeah, Cure VMAX is like practically the only scaling deck in the game, and we have a lot of like fixed damage sort of decks. So everything's trying to hit 280, which is perfectly fine. 280 is a really good benchmark to hit, but you don't have that extra like overkill power to basically get past decks like for Duraludon VMAX. Even the Urshifu, like Urshifu is just hella bulky on his own. Also, in case you haven't heard me comment too much on this matchup, it's a Blissey. I'm gonna get my VMAX, and then he's gonna have to climb half their peaks and play all around that. So it's not really my place to comment. This is all on the Blissey player's hand to figure this game out. Even then, like, I'm not too afraid because Blissey scaling is pretty slow at the beginning, so I have so much time to set up here. He's even gonna like boss Duraludon up, which is fine by me. Also played a slightly weird Blissey version too because he has the Cinccino's and the ground that's like pretty non-traditional. And I'm just gonna go ahead and Ultra Ball, grab the VSTAR, and I'm just gonna grab a Research and something else. I don't know what else. Research Switch? Yeah, that sounds about right. I really just want to get the energies off the field right now. I really love the switching cards in this list. They're so good. Normally, I'm a huge advocate for Escape Rope because one, your opponents can misplay around it, which is always a nice thing. As dumb as that sounds, Also, just checking my deck here, trying to see like what damage modifications I have, my ratios, just things along that nature. But yeah, I was going somewhere with this, but I completely forgot. I lost track of my pace of thought here. What was I talking about? Something? No, that was the last. I was gonna say the last conversation was something about scaling. I have no clue. I'm just gonna let slip my mind for now. Anyways, boss's orders, boom. He's gonna pull out the that on evolved Duraludon, which is perfectly fine. I have a Crystal Cave and I researched my hands, and this is like the worst situation for me. Crystal Cave, do that. And just get rid. Like, I'm sort of just including these games just to have, you know, Duraludon do actual Duraludon things. And because, like, I've recorded, like, I probably recorded around, like, 15 games between 2 days trying to find, like, one super good clip of me getting a shit ton of damage to Duraludon. It's just like, I got all this excess footage, and I'm like, oh, I might as well use it, right? But yeah, now it's on the Blissey player to find the KO here, or find the path to their peak, and then find the KO. Something tells me with the Crobats that they're not going to have it, and they just like concede. Yeah, I'm not getting past this LMAO. One of the other things I think is a little bit something that needs to be considered is how you set up the Duraludons in the Arceus, just especially the Giratina matchup, because your opponent could just skip killing Arceus, which removes like a whole turn or two from the game. Because usually you want your prize map to be Arceus VSTAR to Duraludon VMAX and to Duraludon VMAX, so they have to take an 8 prize game. But like if they just like skip the Arceus, which does require like quite a lot of resources, then yeah. Here I don't put down the Arceus because I don't really know what I'm queuing into. I'd much rather I've been really trying to force this Duraludon clip down my throat here. I see Sobble and Grass Energies. I'm like, okay, so this could be like Decidueye deck. It is. My other thought was like probably Logan V-Star, which would have been fine. Pull out another Arceus. I should have looked at my deck a little bit more there. I think I'm just gonna party anyway. Trying to say goodbye to those Duraludons. Or to those Arceuses. Get rid of the boss's orders. It's not really relevant in this matchup because you're taking 6 prizes anyways. Like, if the Decidueye puts something else on, they're stupid. Also, like, Duraludon's just gonna shred through everything, so it's not really that big of a deal. And we just go ahead and charge up our boy here. Oh, I remember what my conversation was, is Switch and Birdkeeper. I really like the switches in this list. Usually I'm an advocate for Escape Rope because your opponent can choke, which I think is a valid argument, sorta. Like, you gotta play a little bit further, in the, like, almost in a metagame sense, right? Do you want to play a deck that's super stressful, a high reward, but high risk as well? You know, there's a lot of method things to consider, and that's generally why I prefer Escape Rope over Switch, is because it'll give me an advantage against a lot of players that don't know how to. And generally, Escape Rope isn't that much of a negative. It can be, especially like if your opponent's dead in the active or something like that, and you need to use Escape Rope. But I really like Switch in this list, because normally I don't really care about what's in the opponent's active, and if there's something like, if I need to kill something, I have 4 bosses, right? So maybe that's more of a deck building thing than it is a specific like Pokemon thing. So yeah, instead of this being like, oh, you know, Duraludon needs to play switches, it's my deck has 4 bosses orders, so maybe I don't need to be playing Escape Rope. Just some interesting questions and thoughts out there I wanted to put out. Also attaching the choice spell for literally whatever reason, I don't know why. Literally no reason whatsoever. I'm pretty sure I just like win the game on that spot now. He's like, well, his one niche is gone. He doesn't have the damage output to get past me, and he has 1 card in hand. This guy really flubbed up his hand, unless that's a research or something. So he's gonna, what's he gonna do? It's gotta be like a Drizzle or Teleon. Okay, well, I bet the other one. Oops. Yeah, and game concede right here because well, you're only doing 20 damage a turn, lose 0 cards in hand. Get a KO. Yeah, so like Blissey and Decidueye, like, you know, for 2 different reasons, Duraludon's just able to win those matchups for free, based off the ability of the attack alone, right? So we can go back to like more games that require more skill. I say that, but like I said, Duraludon's sort of like, it sort of plays itself. You have some decision making, particularly like deciding when and where to put that Pokemon, managing different types of resources, but there's not like as much resource management as usual. Also, I'm just like looking at this. I think I'm looking away actually. I'm probably watching a video. I just decide I don't have an evolution in my hand, so it's fine to attach an energy to Duraludon. There's a very, very, very slim possibility that he only had a Sobble there, right? But he'd be missing energy, he'd be missing like so many cards, I could like just get him out of that situation. So I'm like, okay, I'll just attach the energy to Duraludon, DT the next turn. Unfortunately, I lose my DT, so oops. Do believe that's what I'd consider a misplay, because like, yeah, it's super important. And now I'm going down this path where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna hit Duraludon and I'm gonna win. I don't know why I decided to go down this path. It's sort of like, you know when you make like a misplay, and you're just like, well, I gotta go for that play now, right? Because I'm too committed instead of backing out. Like the gambler's fallacy, right? I think that's me that at this very exact moment, I'm just like, well, shit, well, I'll just charge up Duraludon now because I fucked up my opportunity to get a Trinity charge up. Also, there's a consideration about whether, you know, to put this Arceus down. Putting the Arceus down is probably decently reasonable. It goes me out in case I hit DGE. Well, I've always had that out. But basically, it also reassures my prize mapping. So instead of going 2-3-3, I go 2-2-3. It just basically guarantee that, like, oh, they're not going to KO a, what's it called? They're not going to KO 2 Duraludon VMAXs. Although, also at this rate, it's a little bit more concerning whether or not I'll actually be able to use my VMAX, because this might die before I actually draw it. Not an excellent situation all around. Opponent shows some of the defensive stuff, but like, even the Radiant Gardevoir is just like pretty nulled out in this matchup, right? There's a whole lot of things that Arceus can do to bump up its CHP in this matchup. It's like explicitly choice built. Anyways, I attached the Metal Energy so I can do more damage. It's like, ah, sick. If I get another one, I could get a KO next turn. Instead of attaching like the Fighting Energy like a sane person, I guess I'm just like, oh, Gatling Slug. I forget what the attack is called, anyways. Against Arceus, this is probably a fine matchup. I really don't think too highly of Arc until nowadays. You're mostly just like I said, you're trying to become a defensive deck. I think that's the only way you thrive in this metagame nowadays, because like Radiant Zards and Giratinas are like all over the place. I think Lost Box is super popular, and then even against Palkia, that matchup is just not fun because you really gotta watch out for your restrictive like deck space, stuff like that. There's just a lot to consider in the Palkia matchup, and Palkia doesn't have to consider a lot, which makes it a lot easier on Palkia's side to play that game too. Like, your bench space is like limited to like, oh, you know, I gotta get Arceus, then I gotta choose how many Pokemon we'll put down. If I solve Skyra, I have to keep this fucking Manaphy here because they're gonna kill everything with Ready Greninja. It's just not fun. And then against the Cure VMAX builds, like, well, what do you do? Because you can 2KO them, but they can OHKO you. They're not always going to, but yeah. Also, watch this Path to the Peak come into play at the worst possible time, and then me just completely, like, ignore it. I think I'm watching the game at this point, but I'm not entirely sure either. As he's just passing it over. He's, like, really scared of this Duraludon VMAX being able to attack. So he's, like, not attaching DT. He's like, oh, well, I'll sacrifice my attack this turn so I can guarantee the attack. At this rate, I'm just like, okay, whatever. And, oh my god, I almost picked the Duraludon VMAX. Also, another misplay here is that I don't even look at the deck. with the evolution sense first before putting the Arceus down. And I have the second Arceus VSTAR prize. It's like, well, this Arceus is now useless. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I tried to Starbirth too, but like, is that have the biggest place? So this is just like maybe extra stupid. Maybe this pans out, right? But in most cases, this is objectively the wrong play. But I hit Crystal Cave and I've switched my hand anyway, so like, get fucked, loser. I really don't have anything else to say here. It's like, wow, I can't believe that happened. Like, just quite literally. I also take the Evo Incense, just thinning it out of the deck because I don't really need it. The other Arceus is in my prizes, so don't really need a fetch for an Evo Incense later. And then we just resurge. I'm just gonna start hitting it pretty hard, and I was like extra behind because whatever reason, I don't really know how he got this far behind. I kind of feel like he could have done something a little better. But we see right on here, so decent start. He can never get an attack this turn. But I think at this rate, he's just like so far behind. He just forfeits. I was like, damn, no! I wanted him to play better because it's like, Arceus, that's the perfect deck to play Karen's Conviction against, and it's tragic. Anyways, this is the last game of the set. Or of the video, I guess, not the set. This is the clipped video I put up yesterday, yeah, where I just like fucking blow up the Giratina. So spoilers, if you've seen that, but I still wanted to post this game because this game was actually like super clutch. It wasn't like me fishing for something. It came pretty naturally, I'd say, at least. Anyways, draw an extra card, get another Arceus, like, whatever. I at least have the energies in hand. I topped that quick ball there, it's like, oh, thank God. Get Duraludon out, boom. He also has a Ranguru start, which is pretty wacky. Would have thought the Crab would come out because the Crab has a free retreat, but if he has a Scoop Net in his hand, like, or not free retreat, he has a 1-cost retreat as opposed to 2-cost retreat. I guess, like, technically you can Ranguru and then you could Scoop Net and then you could use a Ranguru again, but he doesn't even do that, so who's to say? And I'd say this is a decent matchup. This is a matchup I almost considered running Big Parasol in, but after, like, playing it out, as long as you have the Karens, like, unironically, this is the matchup you need Karens for, and it is a decent card in this matchup. You do have to force them to do a 2-3-3 prize trade, I think, instead of a 2-2-3, just because you really need that Duraludon firepower throughout the entire match. You need to be pressuring Vs and just finding your own momentum in the match in other places. Speaking of, we get like basically everything we would need. I could get rid of the DTE because we don't need it anymore. Just checking the deck for other things. I see like all the cards in there, the dumb, stupid single strike energies that like got used a singular time. I just go ahead and save Starbirth. I think it's very unlikely I get knocked out next turn. So I'm just like playing it a little bit slower. As you see with my attachments, there's like, okay, I'm gonna get the fighting energies out of the deck and then I'll attach a metal there. It's a lot easier for me to draw into a metal energy, which is why I attached the 2 fightings there. Just leave it up so it's a little bit more flexible. Doesn't necessarily mean that the Duraludon on the right can attack next turn either, but it's nice to have put up. I still have Starbirth available, so next turn could be like boss. No, it can't be boss anymore. If you put down another what's it called? If you put down another V, I can boss that one up, but he goes ahead and escape ropes. I just bring this up. Like I said, I don't think it's very likely he gets the attack on me this turn, so I think I'm in a decent position. Worst case scenario is a Starbirth, like an energy here. So I just go ahead and put down Crystal Cave, get rid of these two, Ultra Ball out the other Duraludon. I'm basically set for the entire game. I think I go for a switch here as well. Oh, actually, no, this is sick, because I realized my prize mapping is pretty much all set now. And those decks rarely play at Marty, so basically I just set myself up like, oh, okay, well, I'm set for the rest of the game. Let me just attack with this, charge up these energies, boom. And we are solid. And yeah, so I sort of am expecting Giratina attack to come down this turn, which is a good thing for me at least, because like I've been fishing for this clip for so long. But killing the Arceus allows me to bump up my damage on my Karen's Conviction, which I have in hand. And like I said, these decks rarely play Marty, and even if they did have a Marty, they are much more inclined with like Colress's Experiment, because it searches out more cards, and it bumps up the lost zone count. So yeah, just good things all around for me. As he's taking a long time to think here. The video is a lot shorter because I ended up clipping out a lot of the step time that trying to make the videos like 1 minute. They're supposed to be like teasers, right? It's like, oh, here's this cool new video that will be coming out tomorrow. It's supposed to, the real thing is that like it's very easy to spread, and then you get people asking what the deck list is like, and that happened on the Airship video. They're like, oh, what's the deck list? I was like, I'm glad you asked. Check out tomorrow's video and you'll figure it out. Granted, the video for that one wasn't released the day after, so I might have missed my mark a little, but that's the goal from now on. And we see the Barrage Gate. We see Water Energies too, so there's a Radiant Greninja in this list, but this is like one of the few lists in the game that don't have to worry about Radiant Greninja, which is so good, so important. See another Guaranteed of E. I have a Boss's Orders in my hand too, so I'm like, easy pickings. Because now I can use a Duraludon to kill the Guaranteed of V, lose my lose the VMAX to the VSTAR attack rate, and then Karen's Conviction on the following turn. So like amazing position for me. I feel like I'm so well set up here. Picking up the Karens earlier was definitely the correct play, even if it was fueled more by greed rather than like trying to make the smart play. Also, I noticed he's at 9 cards in the Lost Zone right now. So I put the fucking Crystal Cave up, just in case if he hits Lost Vacuum again, so he can Lost Zone a card in his hand. You know, I don't know what his play would be, but I'm like, yo, what if? Anyways, yeah, all he needs is one more card in the Lost Instinct, like Chorus, Lost Vacuum, just give it to me. I'm like literally begging at my computer screen right now for him to hit something in the Lost Zone, because this will be so perfect. I think I still have the kill, because I just retreat anyways. Yeah, I just retreat, play Karens with the choice belt, I get the kill anyways. But this is way funnier, because it's more damage, right? More damage is always funnier. I was just like, Peggy, please, Colors. And he gets the minion, I was like, yes, let's go. Unless he gets like research here, which would be dumb. Yeah. So yeah, he plays the Colors, he gets the 10 cards of the Lost, so he just knocks me out. And that's like, I feel like with the damaging versions, there's a lot more thinking in the deck. Well, that's not true. The healing versions have a lot of thinking too, because you gotta do a lot of math ahead of time. And this is like excited thinking. This is like, how can I blow up my opponent's big attacker at the end of the game with Karens? And that's definitely a lot more fun than like trying to math out like, oh, well, if I use Hyper Potion this turn, then that means if he Marty's me on the following turn, he still can't get the KO, even if I miss the Hyper Potion on the following turn. Things like that, right? But yeah, this is definitely, I'm like, oh my god, yes, my 2-day adventure is finally over, and I can just close them out here. Yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.